Hi guys, today we are going to be doing some more looks with what is probably the most requested multiple look video that I've ever gotten, and I was so shocked when I asked in my first impression video if you guys wanted to see more looks, and so many people said yes. Usually I get maybe like 5 or 6 replies being like, sure, I would love to see more looks, but I swear every single comment on my first impression video was, yes, please do more looks with this palette. And like I said, I was very confused because this palette, obviously you guys know what I'm talking about. This is the new Naked palette from Urban Decay. It's a Wild West palette. You guys know this color story isn't really what I normally go for, so I was a little bit like just confused that you guys wanted to see me do more looks with this, since this isn't really what I normally gravitate towards. But maybe that is why you want to see that, because you want to see what I can do with this, because it's not what I usually work with. So that's basically what we're gonna do. Urban Decay did send me this palette, just wanted to let you know. I did have a good time in my first impression video, but let's just kind of start by priming, and then we'll just get to chatting a bit while I do that, because there is no reason I can't do 2 things at the same time. So I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base as usual. But yeah, like I was saying in my first impression video, I have to go into this thinking that this is obviously a Naked palette, so I'm not going to be judging this the way that I judge, say, like crazy indie brand shadows that are like super intense and sparkly and just like all that, because that is not what the Naked palettes are, and it's not what they're supposed to be. So obviously this formula and this palette is going to be a little bit more just toned down, and formula-wise not as crazy and pigmented. And I mean, not saying this isn't pigmented, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. This isn't marketed towards people like me, probably. And so I do have to judge this for being a Naked palette and for what the Naked palette is able to do, if that makes sense. So let's see, what do I want to do today? I feel like there's a lot of tones in here that maybe at first glance they look kind of similar, but I feel like I'll be able to get quite different looks out of this despite it looking sort of monochromatic and like very neutral with a couple pops of color. But I think today I want to work with this gray over here, and then maybe I'll use this taupe as my transition shade and do a very kind of cool tone look. Maybe I'll do the silver on my lid. Maybe that could be kind of fun. Maybe like green on my lower lash line or something. So let's go ahead and start with that. I want to see how well this dark shadow builds, so I'm going to start with this one. This is the shade called Laredo or Laredo. I don't know how to pronounce these. I don't know what they mean. Taking this with my Rephr number 14, and I'm just going to put this into my crease as my transition shade. I'm not going to do anything crazy with the eyeshadow shape here. I just want to test out the shadows properly, and I know that most people would probably do something like this, so I don't want to, you know, go in and do like some crazy cut crease or anything. I just want to see like how these shadows perform in the way that most people would probably use them. And so far, I mean, this is going on very nicely, which I wasn't really expecting anything else because it's just a light taupey transition shade. It's nice and pigmented though, and it's very, very smooth on the eyes. I am going to take this underneath my eye as well, just so we can keep it the same all the way around here. So this is obviously very, very light, but that's okay. I'm going to use a shade to deepen it up with. So next up, I'm going to go into the shade here called Pony Up. I'm going to switch to my Rephr number 13 because it's just a little bit smaller, and I like to be able to be as precise as possible, especially with dark shades. I don't want it to get like out of hand. So I'm going to start in the outer corner of my eye and just pack it on, and then after I've gotten the pigment down where I want it to be, I'm gonna start taking it through my crease as well. And if you're new to my channel, hi, I don't really use a lot of neutrals. I probably should have said that in the beginning of the video, but I always forget to introduce myself. Are you new to my channel? I always wonder like how many people click on a video for the first time and like they have no idea who I am, and then I just go straight into it. Like I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, I'm so used to just like talking as if I'm talking to someone who already knows me. I don't know, maybe I need to get better at like introducing myself, because I always see like all my friends doing it, and I feel like it's something that I should do as well, but I've just never done that this whole time I've been on YouTube. I've never introduced myself in the beginning of my videos. Let me know if you think I should start doing that, because I feel like it would just become so repetitive to the people who watch a lot of my videos, but maybe it will be helpful for the people who actually click on my video for the first time. I don't know, I feel like it's just like, I don't know, it's a bit of a tricky situation. Taking this shade underneath my eye as well, and this shade is super easy to work with. It's also nice and dark. I really like the matte formula so far in this palette. Oh, did I say I was going to do green under my eye? Maybe I did, but I guess we're not doing that now. Maybe I'll do a little bit of green on my lid then instead, because I do kind of want to use that green, or turquoise I should say. That's definitely the one that I'm the most excited. I really like this shade. This is going on so easily. It's a very, very dark gray. I really like the tone of this as well. It looks really cool together with that transition shade. And I'm also going to play a couple of words of Scrabble because I just cannot help myself. It's what I've been doing so much lately. Ugh, I swear, it's a problem. But it's also super fun because sometimes I win, which isn't always, but when I do, it makes me very happy because I'm a very competitive person. So I think what I'm gonna do is, for my lid, I think I wanna use these two shades here. So this is gonna be in the middle of my lid, and then this taupey silver is going to be in the inner portion. I am gonna put down some glitter primer first though, even though I don't really think I need it. Like, these shimmers aren't really the kinds who will transform if you put them on top of a sticky base like some shadows will. Like, these are just kind of subtle shimmers, and they're a little bit of a dry formula, so I'm not really going to make these look metallic at all, but I don't know, it'll help them just stick on a little bit better at least. So I'm gonna dip into that turquoise shade here called Bud, and that's gonna go, like I said, in the middle of my lid, and I'm going to blend it outwards into the outer corner. It's a really, really pretty color. I do appreciate that they put both a colorful shimmer as well as a colorful matte in it, because that just makes it a little more versatile and you can just do a lot more with it, but that blended in very nicely into that matte. Alright, so for the inner portion, I'm going to take the shade here called Cowboy Rick. This looks to be probably the most metallic of the shimmers in the palette, so I'm just going to put that in the front portion, like I said, and just kind of blend it into that turquoise. Like, I think that if you're the kind of person who like a little more of a subtle eyeshadow formula and nothing that's like too textured or too out there, I think that you would really like this because it's very easy to work with and I'm not having any issues at all. The shadows are definitely nice and pigmented and they're doing what I want them to do. Just gonna switch to a small pencil brush and take a little bit of the silver and just wrap it underneath my eye as well. So I think this is going to be it. I don't know yet if I want to do anything to kind of like spice this up a little bit and make it a little more me. I am going to take a little bit more of that darkest shade though just before I go finish off. Just want to make sure that the outer corner is nice and dark and that the shimmer is nicely blended into the matte. Alright, so I think this is going to be it. I'm going to finish off, I'll come back and I will show you the first look. Okay, so this is the final look, and I didn't do anything really fancy to finish off. Like I said, I just popped a little bit of turquoise in my waterline and did some mascara, and that was basically it. And I really like this look. I also did a little bit of highlighter. I'm using the Jaclyn Hill Loose highlighter in High Vault. Man, I keep forgetting like how beautiful this is. It's a very just, I don't want to say wearable, but it's a very wearable color highlighter, and the formula is just so smooth and so nice, and I really like this. I always forget about it because I keep reaching for like my glittery, yellowy, goldy highlighters because I love those so much, but this is really, really nice. Let's see. For my lipstick, I'm just wearing some random one from the Sephora collection. This was one of the holiday ones that came out this year. Love this. Just a beautiful nude. I didn't really feel like taking it off because I feel like it kind of goes with the look, so that's basically going to be it. The only thing that I would say is that I kind of feel like the mattes have lost a little bit of their intensity. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it happened while I was putting on my shimmers and I put the shimmers over it, but I feel like the mattes, like especially my outer corner and stuff, I feel like it's not as deep and dark as it was when I first applied it. So maybe it's like faded a little bit. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I don't feel like this is as intense as I originally was hoping it would be. But again, I mean, it's a naked palette. I'm not really expecting it to be like super out there and crazy, but I do really like this look and I think it looks very pretty and I think it looks very wearable. Like, I think for people who are maybe not like so comfortable with color, I feel like they would still be okay with a look like this and not feel like, you know, crazy about it. So that's gonna be it for the first look. Let me know if you like this. I wish I could ask you what you wanted to see from my second look, but I'll try to come up with something that's like very different from this. So let's go ahead and do the last look. Alright, so I think for the second look, I kind of want to do something, I don't know if I'd call it unexpected, but just, this isn't like what I thought of when I first saw this palette, but I think I want to use this shadow in my crease and then use this one in the outer corner. I think that they're going to blend in okay. I don't think it's going to end up getting too muddy, so I think maybe that's what I'll do, and then we'll do, not really sure which shimmer I'm going to do on my lid yet, but let's start with that. So I'm going to start with this shade right here, which is called Ghost Town. A little bit of kick up in this one, a little more so I feel like than the other ones, and I'm gonna start just packing this into my crease, trying to get this as pigmented as I'm able to get it before I start blending anything out. I will say the pigmentation on all of these mattes so far have been really, really nice, and they're super easy to work with. You could really get like a nice opaque layer if you go in quite heavy, but you could also sheer it out and it blends very nicely if you want more of a wash of color kind of thing, which obviously is not my thing, but I know that some people do like that. And you've probably noticed that I haven't really used any of the very lightest shades in this palette. It's just because it's just not really how I do my eyeshadow. It's just a preference thing, honestly. So just before I go in with that green, I'm going to take a fluffy brush and I'm just going to run that over the edges. This one is clean, doesn't have any product on it. Just want to make sure I get a blend here. And these, like I said, are blending very, very nicely. Super easy to work with. I will say, I feel like the more you kind of blend and fuss with these mattes, like the more they, I don't want to say fade. Like fade is not the right answer, but I feel like they lose their intensity a little bit and you kind of have to go back in and like build it back up if that is what you want. But since I am going to use a deepening shade, I'm going to take the shade here called Text, which is the dark teal. And I'm not sure yet what I want to do underneath my eye, so I'm just going to start with this and we'll kind of take it from there. I might take this under my eye as well, just so we can get a little more of this color. But this is probably my favorite color in this palette, which I'm sure comes as no surprise to absolutely anybody because it is the most colorful matte in the palette and it's also a dark colorful matte, which makes me very happy. And I really think that these two colors kind of complement each other quite nicely. I'm going to keep this just to the outer corner of my eye. I don't think I'm going to take it all the way in. I'm just going to have it right here on the outer half or so. And I'm also going to take a little bit of this under my eye. I don't think I want to take it all the way. I think I'm just going to do kind of what I have in my crease under my eye as well. And I'll go in with a little bit more of that orangey brown shade as well, just on the front portion here. Just going back in with that orange and I'm going to just connect these under my eye here. Mostly this was going to be in the outer portion, but I'm probably going to take a little bit of that brush that I have this on, the fluffy one, and just kind of blend it underneath the green as well. So this might look a little bit weird, but just wait until we get the shimmers on the lid. I feel like that always makes everything come together. So I gotta figure out what it is that I want to do. Like, I feel like the shades that would go the best with this is this gold. I feel like that's the one I used in my first impression, no, but there really aren't that many shimmers. Like, I've basically used them all. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the only one I haven't used, and it's a bronze. It doesn't really excite me at all, so I'm not even going to touch that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the gold shade here and basically put that all over my lid, and then maybe I'll find something else to put like in my inner corner. Not really sure, but I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to go ahead and spray it this time. I just want to see if it makes a difference because I felt like with the glitter primer, it didn't really do much of anything. And I feel like this formula, like this shimmer formula, it's not really going to transform too much. I mean, it is pretty nice. I do feel like maybe spraying it makes it a little bit more foiled than it did when I used the glitter primer. Like some shimmers just do better with glitter primers and some do better with spraying it. And I kind of feel like this one is one of those that look a little bit better when you spray it. Like it looks a little bit more kind of wet looking when you do that, and I really like that. So I'm just going to take this all over my lid and just blend it into that green. That's actually quite pretty. I'm not mad at that at all. I mean, it's obviously very toned down and neutral for what I usually go for, but I don't really mind it, especially with that teal in the outer corner. I feel like that kind of pulls it all together and makes it a little bit more me. Maybe I'll do like a fun liner or something with this look. Maybe that could be kind of fun too. So again, I feel like I was saying with the crease color, like I do feel like it's kind of faded a little bit. Like I'm not seeing too much of that brown that I first put down. Like it's still there, but it's definitely not as vibrant as it was when I first applied it. So I do feel like some of these mattes have a tendency to just lighten up a little bit as time goes on. And that's kind of how I felt in my first look too. But I do like this, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish off, and I'll come back and I'll show you the look. So here is how I decided to finish off, and I don't know how I feel about the kind of multi-chrome liner that I did. Let me know if you like it. I kind of think it looks cool, but I also feel like it kind of doesn't really go with the look. I wasn't really sure what I was thinking, honestly, when I did it, but what I used is the Interstellar Liquid Shadow from Linda Hallberg. I did get this sent in PR, and I put this over the top of a black liner, and I think it looks kind of cool. I don't know. I feel like it's just different, and I like different, so I don't know, I kind of like it. For my blush today, I'm using the Natasha Denona Mini Bloom Blush. I really love this blush. I cannot get enough of it. My highlighter today is from Bitter Lace Beauty, and I'm using this one right here, which is, let's see, let me take this out so I can see what the name of it is. It is in the shade Coral Cove. I love these so much, you guys, and they Oh, they just smell so good. Like if you don't like scented makeup, you would hate these, but I love them. I also put a little bit of that in my inner corner as well, just to kind of tie this all together. And then for my lips, I have one of the cream lip stains from Urban. This is in the shade Little Jasmine. It's one of my favorites, and I really like this look. So kind of like my thoughts on this palette, I feel like you've kind of heard me say what I feel about it while I was doing my looks, and I think that this is a good palette. Honestly, I feel like it's very easy to work with. I feel like this is a naked palette, so it's kind of what you're expecting, but it's a naked palette with a little bit of a twist, and I appreciate that they did something a little bit different. Now, is it my personal makeup aesthetic? It's probably a little bit too boring for me and a little bit too toned down for what I would normally go for. Like, I wouldn't have bought this palette with my own money, but having gotten it sent and playing with it, like, I think it's a good palette, and I think that if you like this and you think that you would use these colors, I think that you would like this palette. I feel like with this palette, it's kind of one of those, like, what you see is what you get. And if you like what this looks like, you're probably going to like how it performs too, because it is a nice palette. And I think that if you like more toned down looks, but you want to play a little bit with color, maybe this will be a good place to start, because it definitely has your neutrals and like your comfort zone, but it also has that pop of teal and pop of darker green. And I think that that is something that a lot of people would really enjoy playing with. So that's kind of going to be my thoughts. Like I said, I like this palette, but it's obviously not like my perfect palette, but I think it's a good palette, and I'm glad that I was able to play with it. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some other multiple look videos I have on my channel, here is my playlist, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.